Let me tell you about what happened in court yesterday. I want to thank all of you that supported me. Your emails, your financial gifts, your prayers have really kept me going. If you are not sure what I'm talking about, I have been involved in a lawsuit for over a year, going on 2 years, against the Orange County Board of Supervisors to simply require them to follow the law. And I did a video for you yesterday, which is here. It's called Why I'm Not Giving Up. And your comments here in the chat, which for some reason YouTube's not letting the chat be replayed, but your comments really, really touched me. And there was so much encouragement here. Someone said, I'm actually glad to see you freak out and tell it like it is. That's real and it's needed for your own sanity. So I really appreciate that. And Krista said, thank you for all you're doing. I can only imagine how stressful, overwhelming, and exhausting it has been for you, which is absolutely true. She says, I'm grateful for your willingness to fight for freedom and your unwavering steadfastness in the face of darkness. And she has donated. Thank you so much, Krista. And it just goes on and on with people understanding the frustration. RK has filed an EEO complaint against the employer over 2 years ago. These things just get dragged out. And Megan says, Peggy, thank you so much for all you do. If it weren't for you, my husband probably would not have a job right now. Thanks to your no-fail program he does. God is with you. You are a warrior and they are afraid of you. They know their days are numbered. I'm feeling your frustration, she says, but remember, it is always darkest before the light. And Jeannie says that, remember that I'm not alone and I'm not the only one who cares. Thank you, Jeannie. And it just goes on and on. I am so grateful for all of your kind words. In fact, I've got another email that I want to read to you at the end of this broadcast, but let me bring you up to date as to what happened. So the judge issued something called a tentative ruling. And this means it's a publication that comes out before the hearing, and it says how he plans to rule in the case. And the ruling was very favorable. Hang on. The tentative, meaning it's not a final ruling, it's not published, it's not enforceable. And there's more to the story. So the tentative ruling said, indeed, I am right. The county is wrong. The county has what's called a statutory duty. It's a ministerial obligation. It means there is a law that is on the books that defines and requires certain activities during an emergency. And the county said, we don't have to follow this law because it's an emergency, where the law was written for them, detailing what they have to do during an emergency. So you can see the lack of logic, the circular argument, and the ridiculous absurdity of it all. And the judge, in his tentative ruling, ordered the county to hold these public hearings to receive information to determine whether or not there is a local health emergency. Don't you think the county government would want to know what's going on? They would want to know how many people are getting sick, how many people are in the hospital, what the rate of infection is. Don't you think they would want to know that? How much PPE there is available? Do they need to hire more? Do the hospitals need to hire more employees so they can cover, everything in case the resources run thin? Don't you think the county would want to know that, whether or not there is a law that requires them to know it? Don't you think they would want to receive that information? Well, on June 22nd, 2021, they said, we're not going to take any more info. We're just going to let it ride, and we'll wait for the governor to tell us what to do. That, my friends, is a totalitarian dictatorship. You don't wait for the governor to tell a legislative body what to do. There's nothing in the law that says, or wait for the governor to tell you what to do. So they were making up their own laws. They were violating the law that was on the books, and they were trashing our constitutional republic form of government, where we have 3 separate branches: a legislative branch, which is the county government, that gets to vote on policy. And then there's the executive branch that is supposed to carry out those laws, and the judicial branch that enforces those laws and takes action when somebody is violating the laws. And that's why I took action. It's very clear. The facts are on my side. The truth is on my side. The county is wrong, and they are a bunch of buffoons that are befuddled. I'm going to use that new phrase now for the public serpents. They're befuddled buffoons who don't know what they're doing, and they talk themselves into circles. So The judge issued the tentative ruling that the county simply has to hold a public hearing so that we, the people, can hear what's going on and where is the evidence for this continuing emergency. Remember, a county emergency, a local emergency is different than a state of emergency. A state of emergency affects the entire state, all of the counties in a state. You could have, for example, a chemical explosion in your county. And in the state of California, which is huge, it has no impact or effect on any other county unless, for example, Orange County needed help from Riverside or San Diego or LA, and then they could send firemen or something like that. That's what a local emergency is. And the law says, and even the governor reiterated that the local government has to terminate the local health emergency. And they are holding their meeting this morning. It was not on the agenda. I don't know if they're going to put that on the agenda, but the law requires them to do so. And they have neglected their duties for which they're being handsomely paid in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for their, to be public serpents. And this is what is the basis of my lawsuit. So we go to court. And the judge says, this is my tentative ruling. Is there any argument? Do you want to have anything to say on this? And the opposing counsel, right, the one that is representing the county, starts their song and dance about how they have been holding meetings. Well, they've been holding meetings, but not on this topic. So it was very disingenuous. It was very misleading. In fact, they were lying. I'll just put it out that way. And then they said that, well, actually, they were getting information. They were getting emails here and there. Individuals were getting information. But the law says that the body, the governing body, has to have the meetings in public. So that was another strike against the county in their bumbling, buffoonish way of trying to hamstring the judge. And then they finally trotted out a tired, old, nonsensical argument that the entire lawsuit is moot. And what that means in the legal terms is that anything that the court would rule would have no impact going forward anyway, and therefore it should all be dismissed. And remember, for the previous year and a half, they've been trying to get it dismissed, saying that I didn't have standing and there was no real issue at hand. It's kind of like trying to get your parking ticket dismissed. The reason why this case is not moot is because the two questions that need to be answered are, number one, under what legal authority does the county have to not follow the law? I want to know. I want to know under what authority they have not to follow the law, because maybe I'll do that and I won't follow the law. How about that? And then number two, I would like to know under what legal authority do they have to single-handedly transform our political system from three separate and ideally co-equal branches of government to one where the governor calls all the shots. I want to see their legal authority for that. And if I were at the table arguing to the judge, I would say, Your Honor, you live in Orange County. Do you really want a rogue government that doesn't do its duties, that where it tells the governor to tell them what to do? Is that the kind of political system you want to live under? It just doesn't make sense to me. So on the point of mootness, here's the issue. Today is February 28th. Yesterday, obviously, was February 27th. The day before the ostensible or alleged termination of the state of emergency in California. I just explained that a state of emergency and a local health emergency called by the county are two separate issues. They have nothing to do with each other. Oh, by the way, an attorney for the governor was at the hearing as well via Zoom and has been at the previous hearings trying to say that this case is related to other cases against the governor. I'm not suing the governor. I'm not even suing the county. This is called a writ of mandate. I'm requesting the judge to force the county to follow the law. It has nothing to do with the governor, but they want to get their nose into everything. So at least I'm glad the governor knows that I'm doing this legal action and my name is floating around. Apparently, I'm the only one that really, well, I covered that yesterday. Many of you are standing up and I appreciate all of you for standing with me. So the point of mootness, the attorneys for the county said, well, the governor's going to end the emergency tomorrow. So it doesn't even, none of this has any validity. everything's going to be ended. And my attorney said, no, it's not. The law says that the county has to proclaim the termination of its own local health emergency, and it can only do that in a public hearing. And then the county said, yes, but today is Monday and the public hearing is tomorrow. We don't even have time to put it on the agenda. It doesn't have to be today. They have to do it. They have to do it next Tuesday. They have to hold an emergency meeting. There are laws that allow for an emergency meeting. So again, they failed. It's like a big fail after fail after fail for the county. My attorneys were excellent. They expressed the law very clearly in a very compelling manner, exactly as I'm doing right now. They said that to the judge. I was not able, obviously, I'm not able to go since I have attorneys representing me, but they did just great. The judge said, let me hear more about this mootness. Now, in my view, and I have to thank Pastor David for this excellent analogy, imagine that you got a parking ticket or maybe a series of parking tickets for parking in a red zone on a red curb. And then before you had a chance to pay those, or because you didn't pay them, you had to go to court. And it turns out that in the meantime, the city painted that curb white. Are you liable for those parking tickets or not? Yes, you are, because you violated the law at that moment. The county has been violating the law for over a year. Since 2021, June of 2021, they have no longer held public hearings and received publicly information about the emergency. If it's such a dire emergency, wouldn't they want to get this information daily? Wouldn't they want the public to be informed about it? Why would they be hiding this? This is the case at hand. So here's the result of this hour-long, however it was, that we were in court. We had to wait because there were other dealings prior to that. The judge said, I want each party to submit a brief on mootness. I want the county to tell me why I should not rule. And I want the petitioner, me, the attorneys representing me, to file a brief saying why it's not moot. And that goes on now till the middle of March. How do you like them apples? Oh, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Why don't you join me? Them are pretty rotten apples. Yes. Why couldn't the judge have ruled on this issue, which simply is a previous judge ordered the county to show cause? All right. It's a court order. It's like you being ordered to give up your driver's license. It's like you being ordered to go to rehab. All right. And imagine you were ordered to give up your driver's license. Let's just say you were going to surrender it to the judge. I don't even know if it happens. I'm thinking up a analogy on the spot. And you keep going to court saying, well, I can't find it. I don't have it. I think I lost it. And the judge just keeps letting you off the hook. Time after time after time, month after month after month. And he says, you are hereby ordered to bring that driver's license next month and produce it here on my desk. And you show up and you say, well, I don't have it, Your Honor. And he says, well, okay, do it next month. That's exactly what's been happening. The county was ordered, are you with me, by a judge to put this item on the agenda. They could even vote to continue the emergency, but the law requires them to receive information about the emergency. Are you with me? And they keep showing up saying, oh, blah, 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 it's moot. We did it. We didn't do it. We don't have to do it. Well, we already did it. Never providing any evidence. If I were the judge, I would throw them into jail for contempt of court. Where does contempt of court come in here? Month after month after month, they never fulfill the order of the court, which is show me your action. And they never did. Why this is continuing, I have no idea. And those are the questions I have. All right, I'm pretty tired of it all. And I really flew off the handle in my previous video. And it was righteous anger. And many of you applauded me for that. You wanted to, you felt the same way. So here we are again on the issue of mootness, meaning, well, Your Honor, it doesn't have anything, there's no reason to continue since the governor is ending the emergency. Well, I checked the governor's website today. There is no formal proclamation of a termination of a state of emergency. He issued a press release back in October saying it would end today. That's not how the law works, friends. There has to be an issue of a proclamation that is signed, that is filed with the Secretary of State, that he has stamped and approved and all of that. I haven't seen it. So no, it's not moot. And like I say, even if the emergency is ended in the state of California, the local health emergency still needs to be ended. It needs to be done in a public meeting. They are required to do that. Why the judge didn't just order that? What do you think? You let me know in a comment below what you think is going on. Is he a coward? Is he incompetent? Or is he very thoughtful and considerate and wants to just drag it out for more weeks? Maybe it'll be assigned to a new judge, like has happened time and time and time again. That's where we are, friends. Now, where am I? Many of you told me to pray about going forward, and that is exactly what I'm doing. I am praying. I am taking some time to consider what I personally am going to do moving forward. So that is a conversation I'll be having privately with the attorneys. And I want to thank all of you who have supported me financially in this lawsuit. And I really want to tell you, please do not send me a penny if you do not have a penny to spend. I do not want you to be deprived of anything that you need for your life. Please do not do so. I will find a way. That's one of my mottos. There's always another way, and I'm going to find it. And do not put yourself, do not do this at your own expense, friends. Please do not do so. There are so many of you that sent me so many incredible messages of support. I want to finish off with this one, and this means more to me than all the money in the world. So let me grab this email, and this is just one to represent so many that I've received. And it's from Laura, and she said, "Hi, Peggy, some encouragement. We have experience dealing with courts for many years, and I have a close Christian friend who does appeals in the child transgender area. She said the courts are largely pagan and do not care about the truth. She writes, fair and just decisions are the exception. The other side, evil, is well-funded and engages in lawfare." So that's a word many of you have shared with me, right? Like warfare. It is war through all of the procedural delays and all of that. She said, which is wearing people down with procedural nonsense, paperwork, stupid waste of time that costs them nothing, right? It costs them nothing because that's their job. So this is me putting my comment here. They have all of the resources, billions of dollars in the county, and 5 attorneys plus the state attorney. They have unlimited resources, and they know that. And so that's what they're going to do. She said they will, they'll wear you down through procedural nonsense, paperwork, stupid waste of time that costs them nothing, and drain your time, energy, and resources. It's like allowing you to come to court and pay your attorney and then blow your case off. And it's likely that many of the Christian pro bono firms wouldn't handle your case because so many of them worship at the altar of pharmakia, I'll put it that way. And she said, do your best. If you need to take a break, do that. Legal proceedings, because they aren't based on truth. And she said judges might even be compromised. They can be draining and unfair, maddening and disheartening. Wow, Laura, you described it perfectly. Draining, unfair, maddening, and disheartening. All the while they drain hard-earned resources. Please consider taking a few days to pray with your husband to see if it's God's will for you to continue with the case. Sometimes we are in God's will, and other times we slip into our own self-will. Oh, it's so true. She said attorneys can cost huge amounts of money. Lawsuits for what is true and right should be easy, simple, and straightforward. She said, but they are often a mess. And friends, that's what I thought it was going to be. I had no idea what I was getting into. This is not a lawsuit where I am a plaintiff suing for damages or money. This is requiring the county to follow the law. I literally thought it was going to be a matter of the judge signing an order saying, put this on the agenda next Tuesday. That's all they had to do. And that's all the county had to do. And the county could have been discreet. They could have put it on the agenda. They could have voted to continue the emergency. It all would be done. But instead, they've turned it around to put me on trial, to become vindictive, and all of these things that I've described over dozens and dozens of videos. And I don't care about that per se. As I've said, I'm here to honor God. I'm here to serve the truth. I'm here to serve you. And I am hanging on by my fingertips to try to keep this constitutional republic, which is an excellent political system, even though there are corrupt actors, and I mean actors and puppets in there. But what's the alternative? So I am fighting this, and I don't care about the slings and arrows as much as I care about the justice. And I'm frustrated, as she said, it's draining, unfair, maddening, and disheartening to see these attorneys serving evil. I don't know how they can live with themselves. I'm going to speak about that at the end in just a moment. She said, you could represent yourself and go per and pay the attorney fixed amounts to help you if you want to continue. She said, it's not worth going into debt. So I do appreciate that, Laura. As I say, I'm going to be having some confidential talks with my attorneys and figure out what we're doing going forward. She said, we used to think the courts were based on truth and justice, yet they are just another corrupt matrix run on money and power. She said, salvation and the God and Jesus of the Bible are what counts. She said, you and David operate on that realm. Keep the fruits of the Spirit and the peace of God close by. Many good things happened through history because a small group of people persisted. And she left me with several Bible verses: Psalm 35, 1-8, Psalm 46, 10, Psalm 51, 10-13, Psalm 91, which I love, Psalm 139. I will look at all of those, Laura. And what is the most, I'm so grateful for all of your support. And what is the most disheartening for me, because I am a cheerful, optimistic, upbeat, that's just how I am. I have a cheerful outlook on life. I'm always looking for another way. I'm always saying, I can't wait to see the good that comes from this. I deep down believe in the goodness of people when they are living according to God's laws and, you know, honoring truth and living in reality and all of that. And many of you have written to me with horrific stories of losing your children in these family law battles, of having the corrupt judges that would just allow the corrupt attorneys to bring in unsubstantiated charges that then you had to respond to that were completely, you know, ridiculous, but it took your attorney and your money and all of that to defend yourself. I know people personally who have been embezzled, who have been the victim of embezzlement by who they thought was a trusted employee. I have a friend who was doing a business partnership, and the business partner stole all the money. So many of you have been through things far more harmful than this. And my heart goes out to you. And horrible, horrible stories of literally life and death, and being bankrupt and losing your business. And I've read all of those emails, every single comment, every email that you sent. I don't always have the resources to respond to everyone, but please know they are all received and heartfelt, and I pray for all of you. So in that big scheme of things, what I'm going through is really minimal. I don't feel that my life is in danger. You know, those types of things. I'm dealing with the government and with principles of our freedom and justice, but personally, I am not at risk of losing a job or a loved one or something like that. So I also want to put that into perspective. So having said that, my first time, I was on a jury once many years ago, which was horrible. Didn't enjoy that experience at all. That was my first time really being exposed to, you know, the criminal justice system and horrible atrocities that were perpetrated and all. So that really left me traumatized. And since that, I've never really been involved in this kind of thing. I had small claims court, like when I was 25 years old. I gave you that story earlier where somebody rented my apartment out from under me and I had to take them to small claims court. I never saw a dime. Should have realized that back then. But because I stand on principle and because I believe in truth and justice, and I want to fight for what's right, that's why I took this on. In retrospect, I should have dug a little deeper and asked more questions about how it possibly could unfold, because I literally thought, you know, it would be as easy as the judge just ordering the county to follow the law because the law is clear and there's no discretionary input needed. It's just like, there's the stop sign, you stop at it. It's pretty clear. You can't say, well, I stopped at all the previous stop signs, why do I have to stop at this one? That's what the county's saying. We had meetings earlier. It doesn't matter that you had meetings earlier. You still have to have them. So, but the sad thing to me was seeing the attorneys for the county seeing their lies, their deceit, their blatant attempt of destroying justice, of obstructing justice. How can they live with themselves? And I will say that I even dipped down a little bit into compassion, thinking that one attorney in particular must have been abused as a child. I cannot imagine anybody having that ability to be so slimy in the approach. It's absolutely stunning that somebody could put themselves that low. So there is zero self-worth. There is zero self-esteem. There is zero self-respect or integrity. If I were an attorney for the county and they put me on this case, I would say, I can't do the case because you're wrong and you have to follow the law. In fact, as an attorney for the county, I am recommending in my legal advice that you should follow the law and just put this on the agenda. That's what these attorneys should have said. But they dug in their heels. It's called doubling down. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and they are trying all sorts of ways to backpedal after they painted themselves into a corner. So I do pray for them. I do pray for their redemption, for their coming to the light, to finally take themselves off the case and go, this is ridiculous. I can't keep showing up here with these lies. But what really bothered me is to be face to face with evil. I had to leave the courtroom at one point. At 2 points, I left the courtroom because I could not expose, as I say, my vessel, which I want to keep pristine. I could not even expose myself to the litany of lies that he was spewing. I had to leave, and it was just, I thought I might have to go to the restroom and vomit. That's how bad it was. So that is an area of growth for me, to go face to face with these evildoers, to see at what depths the evil ones will sink, the public serpents, as I've coined it, because they are serving evil. So yes, they are serpents. And it is disheartening. It's very disheartening. I will never stop standing for truth. I will never stop being here, creating these educational videos, encouraging, empowering, hopefully inspiring you to take action. From reading all of the comments, I have the best audience on YouTube. I love my healthy American family here. You're smart, you're savvy, you're snarky from time to time, as I am, and you're very, very supportive, as I say, not only for me, but for each other. I see the supportive comments in the chat. We are not going to let the serpents take that away. Ever. Yes, I am on Rumble. I'm on BitChute. I'm on Brighteon, but the interaction that I have here with the audience on YouTube, I value. So that's the message that I have for you for the update. Again, please do not send me a donation if that is a hardship. In fact, I think we're probably good now with what everybody has done. I do not want it to be a hardship. And a lovely healthy American said, Peggy, don't take that donate button off, because I said I was going to do that, because I don't like to ask for money. I like to offer classes where you're actually getting something in exchange for your value. So I have created classes and things that you can invest in, because I always, I find that is something I like to do. And if you want to do that, then you're supporting me and you're also getting something. So that I will probably continue to do. A number of you in one of my previous videos said that you would love to have a health retreat with me. That's what I used to do, is health and wellness. I still do it, but it was put on hold during all of the hogwash. So there are ways that I will continue to be here, of course. And I'm here every day, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern. And I will continue to bring you breaking news, critical thinking, Peggy to the rescue. And I will keep you updated on what is next for this case. We've already won. All right. We've already won. There have been 2 tentative rulings from the court saying that the county's wrong. And I don't know why the judge just didn't rule on that. That was really disheartening to me. And my attorneys objected, and they said, you're going to keep this going on and on and on? Seriously? What are you going to do? I can't keep it going on forever. We've already won. Okay. We already have won. Regardless of what happens, I want you to stand in victory with me. We have won. We have won because we stood up. We have won because the law is on our side. We have won because the first judge ordered this county to put it on the agenda. That order still stands. It's still valid, and it has to be fulfilled. Whether it's going to be in my lifetime or not, I don't know. And that is in God's hands. So thank you, everybody. I do have a second video for you this evening, and on a different topic a lot of you have been asking about. Is your computer reading your mind? And I'm not talking about searching for something and then an ad pops up. It goes much deeper than that. All right, friends, I'll see you soon in an upcoming video. So grateful for your support. And you can always find me over at thehealthyamerican.org.